Hello, the learner, and a massive welcome back to a brand new deep dive, custom crafted just for you.
Hey everyone.
Today, we're grabbing a machete, metaphorically speaking, and hacking our way through the jungle of job interview anxiety.
Yeah, and we've got a fantastic guide to help us from our friends at White Bay Recruitment.
We do indeed.
It's called How to Not Blow Your Interview, a no-fluff, no-jazz hands guide to getting the damn job.
I love that title.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's so direct. No fluff, no jazz hands. You know exactly what you're getting.
Exactly. That direct, slightly funny tone. I really appreciated that straight away. Because, let's be honest, getting ready for an interview can feel pretty intense, right?
Totally. Like navigating a minefield sometimes.
Right. So our mission today is to pull out the most practical, the most memorable bits of advice from this guide.
So you can walk into your next interview feeling, genuinely confident, ready to make a great impression.
For all the right reasons. And speaking of great, huge shout out to White Bay Recruitment. Seriously, if you're looking for your next role, or maybe you need help building your own team.
Definitely check them out. It's whitebay.ca. Real experts over there.
They really are. Okay, so dive in.
Let's do it. The guide kicks off with something that seems small but actually isn't. That initial small talk.
Ah, yes, the preamble. The little dance before the main event.
And apparently it's where a lot of people stumble right at the start.
Yeah, the guide mentions the default, doesn't it? The dreaded weather chat.
Oh, the weather. We've all done it. Fills the silence, but...
Yeah, but it doesn't exactly make you stand out, does it? It's just filler.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
the guide suggests something, well, more human. Just share a quick, real observation. An anecdote, maybe.
And the example they give is just perfect. The
Is-
dog barking at the tennis ball.
Yes, thinking it was a burglar.
It's brilliant. It's so relatable, and it instantly gives you a sense of the person behind the resume,
That's the key takeaway, I think.
Yeah.
It humanizes you immediately. Breaks down that initial awkwardness.
Turns you from just a list of bullet points into an actual person. Creates a much warmer start.
Okay, so after navigating the small talk, research.
Right. And the thought of research can be a bit overwhelming for some people. Like, you need to know everything.
But the guide actually has a more manageable take on it.
Mhm.
And a pretty shocking statistic, too.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about this statistic again from LinkedIn.
Yeah, apparently 71%, 7-1,
Mm-hmm.
of candidates don't really show they've done any proper research.
71%. That's
Yeah.
honestly, that's staggering. With all the info online.
I know, it seems wild.
Yeah.
Look, the good news is you don't need to become an investigative reporter.
Phew.
The guide suggests focusing on just two key things, really specific.
Okay, what are they?
First, find one recent company thing, like a product launch, maybe some funding news, or even just a funny blog post they did.
Okay, something current.
Yeah, and then ask a question about it. Like, hey, I saw you just expanded into X. Was the thinking behind that? Shows you're paying attention.
That makes sense. Simple but effective. And the second thing,
Second is a quick look at the interviewer's LinkedIn. Not like, deep diving their whole life story.
not stalking.
No, just enough to maybe find a connection or ask something relevant. The example they give is great. You've been here a while. What made you decide to join?
Oh, I like that. It's personal, shows interest in them, builds rapport.
Exactly. So it's not about knowing everything. It's just about showing you cared enough to look, that
Yeah.
you're genuinely interested. That little bit of effort goes a long way, it seems.
Okay, good. That feels much less daunting. Now, video interviews. The bane of modern existence sometimes.
Could be. And the guide has this hilarious image of the grainy goblin.
Yes. Broadcasting from the shadows. I can totally picture some calls I've been on.
Oh, we've all seen it. The bad lighting, the terrible sound, the questionable background.
It really doesn't make a great first impression, does it? So what are the do's?
Okay, practical stuff. First, test your tech. Camera, mic before the call starts. Sounds basic, but
So many people skip it. Okay.
chest tech. What else?
Face a light source. Natural light if you can. Avoid looking like you're in witness protection.
Got it. No shadowy figures. And the background.
Yeah, clear it up. Nobody needs to see your laundry pile or, last night's pizza boxes. Keep it simple. Keep it tidy.
Makes sense. What about what to wear on camera?
Good question. The guide suggests blue or neutral tones work well on camera. Apparently red can be a bit intense.
Intense. Really?
Yeah, unless you're maybe interviewing to be a lifeguard. That's the exception they mentioned.
Okay, noted. Stick to blues and neutrals. Anything else?
Well, they do give the okay for pajama pants.
Uh-huh. Knew it.
But, and this is crucial, only if you promise not to stand up.
Right. Business on top, Party on the bottom, but stay seated. Got it.
Yeah.
It's all about just making that good virtual impression. Exactly. Now, related to that,
Ugh.
the age-old question, what the hell do I wear? Even for in-person interviews.
Always tricky. What's the guide's take?
Well, first, they reassure you. Nobody gets hired just because they have amazing shoes.
Okay, that's a relief.
And it's a big, but looking messy or like you didn't put in any effort, that can hurt your chances.
Right. So effort matters.
The main rule is
Yeah.
match the vibe of the company and show you put some thought into it.
And they break it down by type of workplace.
Yeah, super helpful, like big corporate place,
Yeah.
probably still suit territory.
Okay.
Standard, startup, maybe lose the tie, nice clean jeans, collared shirt, something like that.
Makes sense. More relaxed.
Creative agency. This was my favorite description. They said, casual but curated. Think Wes Anderson, not rolled out of bed at Coachella.
That is brilliant. Wes Anderson, I love it. Such a clear visual.
Isn't it? And for remote, obviously. Just make sure the top half looks presentable, like we discussed.
So the general advice is,
When in doubt, aim slightly dressier than you think you need to be. Better to be a little overdressed than underdressed. Shows respect for the opportunity.
good rule of thumb. Okay, now this next part. The guide suggests this is where you can really, take control a bit. Asking questions.
Yes. Killer questions.
Yeah.
This is apparently where you can really win. They even mention a Yale study
Oh, what did the study find?
that asking thoughtful questions actually makes you seem more competent and more engaged, which makes total sense when you think about it.
Yeah, it does. It flips the script, doesn't it? You're not just being interrogated, you're actively participating, showing your thinking.
Exactly. And they contrast a weak question like the classic, so what's the culture like?
Uh-huh. Everyone asks that.
With a much stronger one, like what kind of culture are you intentionally building here and why? See the difference? That why adds so much depth.
Oh, that's much better. It shows you're thinking strategically about culture, not just asking for a buzzword.
Precisely. And they actually recommend preparing like 9 questions in total
9. Wow, okay. How do they break that down?
into 3 categories. Questions about the business itself, questions about the specific role you're interviewing for, and questions for the interviewer personally.
Okay, give me some examples. Business questions.
Things like, what really sets you apart from your main competitors? Or where do you see the company heading in the next, say, 12 to 18 months? Shows you're thinking bigger picture.
Right, strategic stuff. And about the role.
Crucial ones like, what does success actually look like in this position? Or what's the team structure? And maybe, is there room to grow or develop professionally here?
Yeah, gotta know what you're getting into and where it could lead. And the interviewer questions, those sound interesting.
They really are. Asking things like, what brought you here in the first place? Or what's kept you here? Can give you really valuable, honest insights.
And it builds connection, too.
Definitely. And their final suggested question is brilliant. If you were in my shoes interviewing for this role today, what aspect would excite you the most?
Ooh, that's good. Puts them in your position, makes them sell it a bit.
Exactly. It shows your curiosity, but it also gets them invested in highlighting the best parts of the job. It's a smart move.
Very smart. Okay, so asking good questions is key. But what about answering them? How do we avoid sounding like what do they call it?
A LinkedIn robot.
Right. How do we avoid that?
Well, we've all heard or maybe even given those vague answers, right? Someone asks, tell me about your experience with X, and you just kind of waffle.
The verbal shrug, yeah, not effective.
Not at all. So the guide introduces something called the W5 method.
W5, okay, like the who, what, where, when, why.
Almost. It's who, what, why, and how. So who were you working with or where? What project or task was it? Why was it important? What was the goal? And how did you actually do it? What were your specific actions?
Okay, that sounds like a good structure. It gives context and detail.
It does. But then, and they say this is crucial, you have to ask a question back.
Keep the conversation going. Don't just stop after your answer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maintain that momentum. They give a really good detailed example.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so imagine you're asked about JavaScript experience. Instead of just saying, yeah, I know JavaScript, you use W5.
Right.
You say, well, at my last role, where who, I was the lead developer who on a project to build a real-time analytics dashboard what? This was critical because the marketing team needed instant insights to adjust campaigns. Why? I used React and Node.js how to build it, focusing on component reusability, and actually improved loading speed by about 30%. result.
Wow, okay, that's specific. Concrete achievement.
Exactly. But then comes the magic part.
Yeah.
You don't stop there. You ask back, that project really got me interested in front-end performance. What are some of the biggest challenges you're currently facing in that area here?
Boom. Connects your experience directly to their potential needs. Makes it a dialogue.
Totally transforms it from an interrogation into a proper conversation. Shows you're thinking collaboratively.
That's a really powerful technique. Okay, almost there. What about after the interview? You're exhausted, you just want to collapse?
I know the feeling. But the guide is super blunt here. The advice is literally, call your damn recruiter.
Huh? Love the directness again. No beating around the bush.
None at all. And it makes so much sense. Even if you're tired, making that call is apparently a really smart move.
Why specifically call them right away?
A couple of reasons. First, your recruiter can translate your immediate, maybe slightly jumbled thoughts into effective feedback for the hiring manager.
Okay, they're the expert translator.
Yeah. Second, they can get that positive feedback across while you are still absolutely top of mind for the interviewer. Timing matters.
Right, strike while the iron's hot.
And third, your recruiter is the one who will chase the company for feedback on you and keep things moving. They keep that momentum going.
Ah, momentum. That seems to be a running theme here. Silence isn't golden in a job search.
Definitely not. You want to keep things progressing. That call helps ensure that.
Okay, so wrapping it all up, what's the big picture takeaway from this guide?
I think it boils down to remembering an interview is really just a conversation, or as they call it, a vibe check.
A vibe check. I like that. Less pressure than performance.
Exactly. So show up curious.
Right.
Be yourself. You know, the well-rested, showered version of yourself.
The presentable version.
Yeah. Don't aim for absolute perfection because nobody's perfect. Aim for being prepared, being human, and being memorable.
And call your recruiter.
And absolutely call your recruiter. It's not about acing every single question. It's about showing you're someone they want to talk to again. You're worth that second conversation.
That feels achievable. Brilliant. I really hope this deep dive into White Bay Recruitment's Guide has given you, the learner, some solid practical tools.
Yeah, stuff you can actually use to feel more confident and hopefully land that job you're after.
Put these tips into action. Remember, it's about showing up authentically and demonstrating your value.
Absolutely.
And one last reminder, of course. Whether you're the candidate looking for that amazing next step or you're the employer searching for incredible talent,
get in touch with the folks who created this awesome guide, White Bay Recruitment at whitebay.ca.
They really do know their stuff. Well, that's us for this deep dive. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Looking forward to the next one.